Good morning, TFR.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the planet. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the Ironworx with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
Happy Friday, my friend.
And happy Friday to you all. It is Friday the 13th. And you are listening to the Ironworx. Right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. You know me, always with a gimmick.
I like it. I forgot.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Oh,
you all.
Yins.
Good. Waking up still. I'll be.
Yeah, me too.
I thought I said it, but I was on mute, so I'll do it again. Hello. What ho?
Nice.
There's Trav.
That should be the last time you ever hear me blow a truck horn.
Really?
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. I'm turning a page, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. I'm trying to move forward and navigate where I'm going, but
cool.
Yeah, today's my last delivery.
Get the hell out. Well, it's momentous. We're honored that you're sharing it with us.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
All you truckers out there, give a honk for Trav. Wouldn't that be wild if you heard somebody honk next to you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hey.
What did you just say, Zack?
How is that? How's the road out there treating you today, Trav? On your
it's just drizzly, light rain. It's probably, I don't know what it says, about 54 degrees. So
they don't want to make it too easy.
Not too bad. It's not too bad. So.
Oh, that's awesome, Trav. Congratulations, man. Godspeed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I've just, I don't know. We'll see. I've been listening to some hermetic philosophy and stuff you guys were talking about on Tuesday, and just different things have been. I feel like just been pushing me in this direction. So
it's weird how that works, isn't it? Like, but you're not just like one thing that kind of you'll get a bunch of different kinds. Does that happen?
I think in small ways, I'm trying to be more in tune with catching those frequencies and maybe those indications. But, for whatever reason YouTube's its own algorithm and whatnot, but it does seem to be putting some videos along my path that are helpful. Like this one actually today that I just listened to, Joe Dispenza. You guys know him?
The name sounds familiar.
he's basically along, in my opinion, he's along the lines of like Alan Watts, Peterson, these guys who try to implement and help facilitate change in others with your own intuitive awareness of who you are and what the world is. But the past 2 days, I had a lot of fear and doubt creep back in, like, oh shit, I shouldn't have quit. And I've been in that spot before, and I'm like, no, I've got to push through this. And today's one of the videos that I listened to today was exactly the struggle that I was facing, and it was exactly what I needed to hear, and it was some principles that are going to be interesting for me to implement. So so Zach, I mean, there have been certain things that have surfaced that way. Sure.
Yeah, it's interesting how if you listen, you can kind of, almost tell where the universe is trying to steer you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a part of my journey in the past 5 years, out of Christianity into spirituality, and just the more and more I listen to different things and kind of build on these. Well, I'll just say it this way: these naturalistic. I don't mean to say materialistic, but I just mean these natural connections that we have with each other in the world, these energetic connections that we have, these spiritual connections that we have, is just, for me, a lot more sensible and practical than what my Christian upbringing was. One of the meditations that I did last week, when I was finished, it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Should have been like.
So you're dropping out a little bit there, Trev. You're just dropping out a little bit.
No, quite a bit.
Right after your meditations last week dropped. So.
Okay. So my meditation last week, when I was finished, I felt this sense that this is what I expected prayer to have been like as a Christian. And I never really ever sensed anything in my prayers as a Christian. It was just doing something that I was supposed to do, pray, but I never really sensed anything. So it was just really interesting. So just taking steps and trying those different spiritual disciplines.
Well, that's a step I'm very familiar with myself, Travis. Years and years ago, I stepped my way out of growing up in the church and Christianity and actually studying it really deeply. And I stepped out, dabbled around in the world, did a lot of reading, a lot of different paths, and then got into college and kind of stepped back into it. In a more mature way approach, trying to really see, okay, as a kid being immersed in it, steeped in it, that's one thing, but me really coming at it with a mature, I've seen some other paths now, let me go back and see what I can get from it. And there was a difference, and the difference, I think, was simply just my path, my understanding of different things at that point in the world. I was dealing with a lot of classes that I was, shaking things up for some of my Christianity professors. And yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that, mimicked. And at that time, we really didn't have as much info as, all the different histories that kind of seemed to mimic the story of Christianity and all that. So, kind of uncovering that stuff at that time was just mind blowing to some of my professors. And, I'm like you. It seemed like I got more out of me and my personal thing working through higher consciousness than in some kind of organized, ritualized something that just like empty ritual, empty following the rote
the thing,
thing, you know?
yeah, right. Yeah, the thing for me that I try to express, I did a live stream last week because I was thinking about it this way, and so kind of piggybacking on what you're saying. Well, for me, Christianity was all about. Well, okay, look, I remember in the '80s as a teenager and going into college that the Christian spirituality laughed at and poo-pooed the self-help aisles, right? Because you can do this yourself. And Christianity is all about, no, you can't. You can't do this yourself. You have to have God's help. And
in half of it's not even you just got to have God's help. You have to have some middleman, intermediary, hello brain, wake up. That's the word I can't say yet. Good God. Anyway, yeah, you know, I got to do it for you, and let's
yeah. So
you know.
then, right. So then imagine, just let's say a young married couple, Christian. I'm describing myself, obviously, when I was, in my 20s, and the struggles of marriage, and then saying, "Oh God, help me understand this relationship and help me change." Right? I don't know how to change. So then it's like, help me. So then you're like, okay, so when's the bring? Do I like, because if I'm waiting for God to do it, right? So, but in the self-help, it's the realization that, no, this is all you. You've got this. You can do this. And there's more of an active deliberation, right? There's no passivity. There's no waiting for God to do something. So it's like, the way that I try to depict it is, if I want to fly, and I say, okay, God, I want to fly. I can't. I cannot fly unless you help me. Unless you give me the power, I can't do it. So then when do I know that I've got that power? Right? Is there some indication, like I go, oh, there's that little leveling up. I've got this sense that I go, okay, there it is. I asked for it, he gave it to me, and now I can fly. So that if I'm asking God to help me to love my wife and I never feel love for her, then what's God not doing? Like, why isn't this working, God? That was my biggest struggle personally as a Christian, was like, this prayer shit's not working because I'm asking for help. And so then the whole thing was, well, then people say, well, no, you've got to pray, but then you've got to do stuff. Well, yeah, well then, okay, then I don't need to pray. I'll just do it. Like, why waste that other part of it? But the meditation part, I think, is the aspect in which my self-awareness of who I am, right? And what is my responsibility is, I think, much, much more profound and explicit.
Awesome. Just keep listening.
Say that again?
Just keep listening, Yeah, it can be scary, I'm sure. I bet you're, at the end of the day today, you're gonna feel this rush and surge of, am I doing the right thing? Is this, that's normal, Whenever you take a big step like that and you're actually doing it, it's just human nature to second guess yourself right as you're starting off on your new endeavor. I mean, I was terrified on Walkabout. I mean, I was so excited to do it for so long. And then the second that I was just about to start, it really set in. Like, I'm doing this.
Right. What was your way of what was your way of riding that wave? How did you process it?
Oh, I broke down crying, and I said goodbye to my mom.
Right.
I was scared that might have been the last time that I actually saw her. I didn't know how long I was going to be gone, you know. It was, yeah, just all this huge wave of emotion. Hank really got me through it a lot. He helped a lot.
Yeah, I think I remember those. That was really the first time I was aware of your channel, and I think that was really the first time I started watching your content. I can remember that emotional expression now that you're describing it. I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot leading up to it as well. It wasn't just that step. You know, I remember leaving Stark County, and that really having a big effect. That's the county that I moved out to in the country. Just fell in love with art, nature, my camera, and all that stuff. All these great memories in this beautiful place. And it was really hard leaving that area. Even it was like the area said goodbye to me that night. It gave me a beautiful sunset, just this gorgeous, you know. Yeah, it's just enjoy it, Trav. That's all I can say is now that you have a little bit of time, stop and some, you know, don't feel that you have to, you know, push through this and you have to do it this way and this way. Go with the flow. When I was on Walkabout, I definitely did not end up where I was planning. I first started, you know.
Excuse me.
So yeah, you'll have your highs and your lows, and it'll get scary sometimes. Yeah, just know that everything's gonna be all right, and yeah, you got this, brother.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I got some ideas and some sketches of ideas. Keeping my eye out for conversion vans. I've got a schoolie that's been already converted that I'm gonna look at this weekend, and then there's one that's not converted, but it's got low miles. Looks like it's pretty solid. So
Yeah, there are a lot of videos.
Yeah.
That will help you with van life,
right,
and kind of stuff. Even picking the right vehicle, and there's so much that people
lots of little tricks and things they figured out. And stuff
Right.
that'll save you so much headache. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the big giant vans, they're nice, but the gas mileage sucks. And I've seen people convert like Jeeps, you know, into like a little house almost. It had the front seat normal, and then the whole back was like half of it was a bed. He had a little area for his dog, and then the back section he built this rack that had where he put his food and clothes and stuff like that. And
are you talking about like a 4-door Jeep that's got a back end to it? Okay.
Yeah, the 4-door Jeeps with
the
thing in the back. But he had the whole thing decked out, and
yeah,
he was living comfortable in that thing.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought about that as well, and I don't. My initial thought is that, man, that's too small. I don't mean like, I mean like claustrophobic almost for me. I have to have a little bit more space.
Spend a whole lot of time in the Jeep, you know. He'd pretty much just sleep in there, and then use it for travel. But after that, you know, he'd set up a camp somewhere and
spend
a lot of time outside or doing something.
Right. Well, the one thing that's going to be an issue eventually is going to be sustaining income. And so I've got a good hybrid car that's just about 10 years old. And I'm thinking through towing that behind the van or the schoolie, and then using that everywhere I go to just make some extra money with Uber and DoorDash.
And people make a killing. Uber and I've heard people making a lot of money in DoorDash. It's all about finding like the right area and the right time to do it. I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a.
Yeah, people make some good money doing that stuff.
Yeah. I've got a good friend who lives in Long Beach, and he's been an Uber driver for the past 6 years. So he's got his area down there, like he knows exactly what he's doing, and yeah, he's making himself a nice, comfortable living in the freedom of doing that. So yeah, I mean, I did Uber. I haven't done passengers yet, but I have done Uber and DoorDash. And, I mean, I enjoy it to a certain extent. You know, it's easy, and so.
Any idea where are you gonna travel?
I'm gonna stick around here in Maryland for at least 2 months, I think. I've got a place that I've rented out next week for a month. So I plan on trying to recalibrate myself mentally, spiritually, physically, change my diet. Yeah, doing truck. The truck is just killing me.
Yeah, then it's time.
But yeah, I plan on hopscotching around the states sometime along that trip. Get back out to California and go see Daryl up in Northern California and work his farm for a little bit.
Well, if you find yourself in New Mexico,
I'm sure I will. Yeah.
You got to check out Ruidoso, and then Ruidoso Downs, not so much, but Ruidoso is beautiful in the like the late fall, right before the winter sets in, and the mountains of New Mexico. I saw elk walking through town. Like there's a campground up there called Bonito Falls. It's just gorgeous. It was one of my favorite places I'd ever been to. It's just amazing there, Trav. Yeah, New Mexico it's a land of enchantment. It really is.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty beautiful stuff there as well, but that's just while I was doing trucking. So it was never for ultimately sightseeing and recreation, but definitely had some beautiful experiences there.
And then Carson National Forest up there around the northeastern edge of, and then I think it goes up into Colorado and kind of by the 4 states connected. That is just a gorgeous area. I really felt, but I just can't stand the desert.
As beautiful as it is, it's just too dry for me. I was like miserable my second day through there. I was looking at every drugstore in the area for some kind of nasal spray, saline, something to stop this crusty dryness that was killing me. And you couldn't find it because everybody else was trying to use it and find it. And yeah, it's a dry heat. Yeah, it's like somebody blowing a hairdryer in your face the whole day.
Yeah, that's why I went out there in the winter.
Well, we just went across on our trek, taking Mom and my sister and everybody out to Oregon. So that was when I did my, really getting into it and checking it out. I had driven across years before that when I was like 18 on a trip out doing a job out in El Segundo and Santa Maria out in California. So driving through, me and the guy that I was working with, we were kind of in a hurry to get to the job. And then by the time we came back, we were damn sure ready to get home. So we didn't do a lot of sightseeing or stopping and looking at stuff, occasional like roadside. If it was on the trip, we would stop and check it out kind of thing. But other than that, we really didn't enjoy it like we should have. So it was the trip across with Mom and them that really blew my mind on the beauty of the desert. And man, the Grand Canyon, can't even explain how amazing that is. We are quickly about to slam into this first break. Are you going to hang out with us, Travis? Hopefully that means yes.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get to that break, happy corporation formation. Just a day ago, I believe it was, for I'm the there in chat, fellow Capricorn. Congratulations.
Corporation Day.
That's birthday in normal people's vocabulary. But yeah, congrats.
I do believe that's going to do it. Should be hearing music any minute now. See how that works? Like magic. We are joined this morning by our good friend Travis Finley as he embraces the next, not just page, but next chapter of his life, which is awesome and brave. Stick around. We've got more. We've got space lettuce galore. Hey, that rhymes. Some that actually might even apply to Travis in this new phase of his life. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Do not settle for the average. Average is the grave in which excellence is buried. Average people strive to fit in, while excellent people strive to stand out. You can never change what you accept. You can never change what you refuse to confront. If you keep pretending that mediocrity is your best, then you will never proceed to excellence. You were not born to be an average person. This, therefore, is the challenge. We need to inspire people to not settle even when they seem to be successful. As a matter of fact, the greatest enemy of progress is your last success. When you settle on what you've done and believe you've achieved everything, you have just begun to die. Excellent people never settle for the average. Develop a deep commitment to excellence.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Travis Cook, America's Evil Genius, here to invite you to join us every Tuesday afternoon here on Truth Frequency Radio. No, on our show, you will not see a bunch of three-piece suits or a cocktail party, and you certainly won't see a bunch of inside the Beltway banter. But you will see eye-gouging, crotch-kicking, no-holds-barred political discussion, the likes of which you won't see anywhere else in media. America's Evil Genius. We come to you every Tuesday from the outskirts of war-torn St. Louis, Missouri, where there's always a good race rider sex scandal just around the corner. Join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, and noon on the left coast right here on TFRlive.com. America's Evil Genius, Travis Cook, on TruthFrequencyRadio.com.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio. Inconceivable! Allegedly.
Welcome back to the second half of the first half of the Ironworks, right here, Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. We are also live on Rockfin and YouTube and DLive and Facebook and Twitter, and there's a few other places, but we are broadcasting multiple places.
Yep.
And I think we've only had 1 or 2 videos removed off of YouTube this week. Maybe it was last week. I don't know. It's been like 4 the last month. They average about 1 a week. So there's that. It's a good thing we get so fucking many.
Well, I know there's big bubble or whatever you want to call it, kermuffin. They're talking about changing the censorship laws. Google is being sued by some people, I think maybe in Spain, for promoting ISIS videos, something like that. Oh, where I just saw this. Where is it? Oh, I forget the name of the law. It has to do with the internet censorship. Let me see. I'm sorry. I had it pulled up.
I, for one, am all for the ancient Egyptian god for fertility, but whatever.
Yeah, it's gosh, they're voting on it like right now. I forget the name of the law. Oh, now it's not going to show it to me. Piece of crap. I don't know. I'll have to come back to this one. Yeah, but they are voting like soon. It's some law that, or maybe not voting on it, but they're talking about bringing it up in a vote. And it all has to do with Google and YouTube and all the algorithms and what they blah, blah, blah. So pretty much you're talking about becoming even more censored because they want companies like Google and Meta to get in trouble for other people posting content on their site. They want them to be held liable for every video put out on YouTube. And if that happens, then yeah, they're going to be cracking down on what anybody gets to put out anywhere, probably.
There are already new terms that I need to agree to if I want to continue to receive any revenue from YouTube. Something about their shorts or something. I don't know. Some silly shit. But I guess they're now monetizing all those short videos, going the way of TikTok. Hey, YouTube, why don't you make your own fucking separate website for your short videos and keep that shit off my feed?
Yeah, no doubt.
If only.
I watch like 5 a week, and 4 of those are probably accidental. I don't give a shit about shorts or your little videos.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't find it.
Shout out Daryl Davis, the man himself.
Probably censored it.
Big Double D in the house.
Much love, Daryl.
Love you, brother.
He's
Absolutely.
Dang. I didn't realize he was, well, of course he's a superhero. He's Daryl Davis, but yeah, not every superhero, but a lot of them all have the initials. The same first and last initial. I guess.
Yeah, that was a Stan Lee convention that became almost a joke in the industry. The Molly Malloy or whatever, I mean, yeah, any double
Peter
name.
Parker.
Yeah, pick it, right.
Okay, we got a good one for you, folks. I've been holding. Should we wait?
Wait, what?
Talk about the new lunar space module.
Oh, you mean Go ahead.
Hold on, I think I can pull it up here somewhere.
And I'm floating in a tin can.
Literally.
Far above the moon. Anyway. Planet Earth is blue. Bunch of bullshit, it's not true.
Hey, speaking of Life on Mars, did you guys ever watch that American version called Life on Mars? Did you ever see that series?
I don't think so.
Really good. You should check it out. Look it up and see if you can find the American. I never watched the British version, but the American version, I can't remember if it was only one season, but I think actually it was, and they had to just wrap it up because they got canceled. So, but it's well worth the watch because the end is just this complete twist. But yeah, Life on Mars, yeah, check it out. Harvey Keitel's in it, Gretchen Mol, and I don't know if I knew anybody else, but really interesting.
Huh.
It's the subtext is time travel, where this cop goes back into the 70s, and he's on a force, and then it's just in the ins and outs of the department and whatnot. But like I said, the very end, you're like, what?
I can only think of one movie, Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I can only remember one movie he was in, but I loved him in it.
I know what you're going to say.
King of New York.
Nope.
Pulp
Reservoir
Fiction.
Dogs.
He was in Reservoir Dogs?
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else. Who was the guy from Monsters?
From what?
Monsters?
The movie Little Monsters, Fred Savage. He was the monster.
Oh, Jesus.
Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel?
Yeah.
Yeah, Howie Mandel.
I get those two confused all the time.
And they look nothing alike. One's like 20 years older than the other one.
Well, you know that scene in Bad Lieutenant where he put that rubber glove over his head and blew it up?
Oh man! So your favorite movie with Howie Mandel is Little Monsters?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Little Monsters was actually, from what I remember, I don't think I've seen it in over 20 years, but I remember enjoying it a lot. I thought it was really good. It was just classic Howie Mandel slapstick. Like he was Howie Mandel, I think, could have given Robin Williams a run for his money. If you watch any of Howie Mandel's early comedy shows in the 80s, dude was cranked up all the time.
Oh, dude, he would work a crowd like no one else.
Oh,
I mean, that was his gig. He would like make the audience part of it. There was some of his like amazing shit. A moth would fly by on stage and it would become a routine. Yeah, he was one of my early heroes of comedy before it all went awry.
But yeah, Little Monsters wasn't a bad rewatch. You know, as you got older, there was still, like there's some movies you go back and watch and it's like, wow, I was definitely a child when I saw this because this is horrible.
Yeah. I've shown my my youngest kids a couple of movies and I'm like, yeah, this isn't that good.
Sorry.
From what I remember. I remember loving this.
Yeah, it held up. It had some good humor. And I love the one song in it. I love the sound of breaking glass playing baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good old one. All right. Space.com.
Right? Oh.
Strap in, folks. NASA's moon orbiting space station will be claustrophobic, architect says. In quotations, it's essentially just a corridor where you have to turn 90 degrees if you want to stretch out.
Now, can somebody explain that to me real quick? I'm just explain it to me like I'm a little child, because I'm having a hard time understanding how this works. Like, is it a rotation? Like, if you're facing forward, do you just turn to the left? Do you have to like bend at the waist?
Yeah, which 90 degrees? I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go and still move 90 degrees.
Right. If I bend at the waist, how is that stretching out?
The living quarters of NASA's Moon Orbiting Gateway Station will be so tiny that astronauts will not be able to stand upright inside. An architect involved in the station's design said.
With a laugh.
NASA and its international partners plan to begin construction of the Gateway Station in the Moon's orbit in the next couple of years. What? Oh, begin construction. Okay. It'll take 10 years to build. When complete near the end of the decade, the Space Lab will be about 1/6 of the size of the International Space Station, featuring 2 habitation modules that will force crew members to all but forego personal space. The International Habitation Module will have habitable space of about 8 cubic meters or 280 cubic feet, and you will have to share it with 3 others. A space architect, design researcher at Austria-based Liquefier Space Systems.
That's not the people launching them with the slingshot, is it?
I think so, no.
That's their nickname, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Liquefier. Well, yeah.
In other words, that would be a room 2 by 2 by 2 meters. So 6.6 by 6.6 by 6.6 feet. And you are locked in there. There are other rooms, but they are not bigger, and there are not many of them.
And they can't get to them because they're locked in the habitat modules, apparently. The 6 by 6.6 by 6.6 by 6.6 room, Jesus, and they are locked in there. What's the point of having any of the other stuff then? Shouldn't they be able to do everything in that little habitat module since they're locked in?
Well, are the important bits and bobs going to be on the outside, so they have to access, like, emergency life support systems and shit outside?
Mm-hmm. That way they make some really cool, dramatic spacewalks.
For the video, right.
Were you still reading, Zach? I think he put himself to sleep.
Yo, Zack. Earth to Zack. Please stand up inside the capsule if you're okay.
I think he may have lost internet or something, because he
was already getting a little crispy in my ears as we started the call, so I was thinking he might be needing to charge his headset or something. So he may have lost it completely. I've given up on the wireless stuff. They're like, these days you get an instruction manual of like 3 pages with a bunch of symbols. If you don't already know every symbol on the phone or on the earbuds and what they mean, then that book does you absolutely no good. And so, yeah, I'm about done. I'm about to just have a can with some string and hang it off the backside of my computer. See what kind of audio file quality I get there. Because before we even got started, it was already beeping in my ear, even though it's 100% fully charged, and there's no reason for it to be beeping in my ear. And the book has no explanation. Anyway, Walt ran over. Technology sucks. Just you and I.
So I'm still looking at this story. So this architect, Walt Levicek, was involved in the design phase of the Europe-built International Habitation Module, or IHAB, which is one of the gateways to habitable elements, essentially bedrooms combined with lab space. The other being the Habitation and Logistics Outpost, HALO, developed by Northrop Grumman in the U.S. When working on the design, the architects had to bow down to the practical demands dictated by the nature of the project. The architects said their initial hopes for larger modules offering more generous volume of habitable space akin to that available at the International Space Station had to be abandoned due to the impossibility of launching massive components to the moon. They had to abandon anything larger than 6.5 by 6.5 by 6.5. Abandon it. They couldn't go any larger because they couldn't get it to the moon.
How big was the Apollo rocketry?
Well, given the fact there were several astronauts in there, I'm guessing it was considerably larger than 6.5 by 6.5 by 6.5 feet.
Got it right to the moon, though, didn't they?
Right to the moon.
Couple, 3 days.
No problem. Landed, unloaded cars.
Flipped upside, backwards, down. Had launch air cars on them. I remember. I saw it. I seen the video.
I'm pretty sure that even the module that took them off the moon was larger than 6.5 by 6.5 by 6.5.
Pretty sure. I think Zack could have confirmed that. He saw it as a child at a museum and was stunned by its amazing technical prowess.
But when you lose the technology, I guess.
You destroy it. You didn't just lose it. You destroyed it.
So it just kind of wanders on. I don't know. That's a long-ass fucking article. And I'm not holding my breath if this shit even gets started, let alone manages to sustain itself for a decade while it gets built and then becomes some sort of usable effing thing. Assuming that any of it's even real, that they're going to go orbit the moon. Let's see. Let me see. I still don't know where the hell Zack disappeared to.
He'll be back, maybe.
Maybe.
Possibly. Sad news, real quick. Get it out of the way. Jeff Beck died.
Oh, yeah.
And while I will not have... I don't know where my brain just went. I wasn't the biggest fan in that I couldn't name like 6 songs, you know. But as a guitar player, you're well aware of Mr. Beck and the songs that you do know. Beck's Bolero, Because We Parted as Lovers, a couple of those. Amazing shit, like amazing. Fluid lines, beautiful, like just great stuff. And definitely every guitar player that I do know as a hero mentions him as one of their heroes, kind of the guitar player's guitar player. And then another really crazy one, Lisa Marie Presley. I have to call her that because that's who she's always been to me. Passed away. She is a year younger than I am because she and I were going to get married when I was 8 years old. So that was my plan. And yeah, she was a year younger than me, and she died from heart related problem. Cardiac arrest. Interestingly enough, seems like there's a lot of that going around.
I think this was
over like the last year after the last previous 2 years, and seems like maybe I'm crazy that maybe people who are fucking.
I think this one was a little different though, Walter. I think this may have been.
What was Jeff Beck's condition?
Bacterial meningitis.
Yep.
Which I thought even a strange diagnosis in this day and age.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely unsure, and I don't know anything. Maybe it was a sudden event.
She was just at an award show 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I think it was possibly opioid related.
So do you think they were drug related? See, I don't know anything about her anymore. Once she didn't want to marry me and broke my heart, then I had to leave her.
She had a son who was addicted,
It
who
seems like I do recall
killed
the
himself
story
a couple
about
years
that.
ago. I think in
Yeah.
2020, he ended up killing
Mhm.
himself. I think he was an addict. I think she had talked about just, I don't remember what procedure it was, but it was just a short-term prescription for some opioids. And that was enough to convince her to think that she needed to continue on. So I know that there was some opioid addiction issues at some point, but dying at 54 of a cardiac event sounds like her heart stopped, which would be indicative of many things, but not the least of which.
Wait. She's not 54. No way.
No, she's a year younger than I am, or maybe she's 55. Yeah, there you go. I'm confused.
Shut up. Are you kidding me? Like, I remember when Naked Gun came out, like she was like, I felt like she was way older than
That was
I was.
Priscilla, wasn't it?
Oh, Lisa Marie.
Yeah, this is Lisa Marie.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Yeah. This is the
I'm going
daughter.
back on
This
mute.
is
Going back on
no. I did like when Michelle first told me she passed away. My mind went to Priscilla too. I did the same thing. I went, wait, she was a Naked Gun. She was already old. Wait, I did the same thought trail you just went down, Travis. That's great. And then it hit me. Like, oh, Lisa. Oh no, my baby is gone. I was. Yeah.
That's what threw me off when I was like, wait, you were 8 years old? Like Priscilla didn't come around until she was
Right.
8,
No,
8,
yeah, she was already a teenager. No, Lisa. Yeah.
I don't know what happened there, guys.
He's back.
I went on and I read that whole thing. And I was like, man, the guys are being quiet. I'm not hearing any snickers. Or
You just like we were like entranced by the space magic. Zack.
I was like, what about you guys? What do you think? And I didn't get nothing. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I went to YouTube and I heard you guys talking on this. I was like, well, what? Yeah. And Skype just said, oh, you're not going to be in the call anymore. Get out of here. Sorry about that. Oh, man. So what do you think? Would you guys go on the module if there's like a test and said, hey, we're just going to...
Only with Lisa Marie would I go on that module.
And there was no mention of a bathroom. Did you notice that?
No.
They're the kings of space, Zack. Who needs a bathroom when you're a king?
Just going to have a bathroom in each chair, like in Idiocracy. You just don't even have to get up. You just sit there and, yeah, just.
Well, didn't they have a female astronaut running tests on long-term diaper wearing? Although that might not have been necessarily condoned by NASA per se, is just one crazy fucking psycho stalker, but whatever.
Didn't she cover like 4 or 5 states?
Yeah.
She had a plan, Zack.
Driving straight through.
Yeah.
That's why she wore the diaper, because she didn't even want to stop to piss.
I mean, it's like a minute 30 tops if you're in a super hurry.
For
Run
men.
in.
For men.
Okay, a minute 45. But yeah. Oh, man. That's going to about do it for the first hour.
Damn, are we that close already?
Is it that already? It is that already.
The big R. The big pine.
What's up, Piney? I've lost chat, damn it. And Bryce CB hitting it. What's up? Yes, Daniel Becker. We definitely know what happened to Lisa Marie. Apparently,
football?
Huh?
No, football is dangerous.
You gotta wear a helmet.
No.
There was one?
They should just maybe make them smaller. Maybe they shouldn't be so obsessed over size. And if we had smaller football players, then they'd have less momentum when they crashed into each other, then it would hurt them less. Then they wouldn't have to wear all the heavy protective clothing. You just use a little common sense.
Everybody go back and watch Caddyshack 2. There's the only game we need ever.
Dude, Randy Quaid was amazing in that.
Listen to this shit, excellent.
He puts on the
Hey,
goalie. What's up,
Hey,
Trav?
did you guys see that movie about the guy who created National Lampoon? It's on Netflix, I think. It's called.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's called A Stupid and Futile Gesture. That's the name of the movie.
Right.
Yeah. It's well worth it.
There's two versions kind of the story out there. There's the real documentary, that one. And then there's the like the story version, I guess, with stars playing the parts. Here, I'll go look the other one up too. Hang on.
And that's going to do it for the first half of the Ironworks here on Truth Frequency Radio. We'll be right back.
Ella,
Drink.
and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
I'm making this presentation directly to the American people with the media present, which is an honor to have you this morning, because many of our nation's reporters and folks will not tell you the truth. Russia is a ruse. It's all fake news. It's all a ruse. Not true. It's all fake news. Russia is a ruse. Fake. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. One of the reasons I'm here today is to tell you the whole Russian thing, that's a ruse. Russia is fake news. Russia, this is fake news. Well, I own nothing in Russia. I have no loans in Russia. Talk all you want about Russia. I don't have any deals in Russia. Tomorrow the headlines are going to be Donald Trump rants away. The press is out of control. Dishonesty is out of control. We're not going to let it happen because I'm here again to take my message straight to the people. Russia is a ruse. It's all fake news. It's all a ruse. Not true. It's all fake news. Russia is a ruse. Fake. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. Hillary Clinton gave Russia 20% of the uranium in our country. You know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things. Hillary gave away 20% of the uranium in the United States. She's close to Russia. I didn't do anything for Russia. Tomorrow you'll say, Donald Trump wants to get along with Russia. This is terrible. This is terrible. Russia is a ruse. It's all fake news. It's all a ruse. Not true. It's all fake news. Russia is a ruse. Fake. It's all fake news. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. What the fuck?
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Good morning. I'm here.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. There was one? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt, and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cozy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt, and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on The Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
And welcome back to the second half. No, yeah, first half of the second half. This is the second half of the show, but the first half of the second half. Because we still got. Anyway, we're just hanging out this morning.
You just got dropped. You just got dropped down a couple notches for me, Josh. I was always impressed with the fact that you never messed that up. And you just did.
I'm sure that I've messed that up many times.
That's the first time I've heard you do it. So I've always been like, man, I can't remember. That's so funny.
So just a little clarity about some things before the break. There are two things out there that are great. Watch them both if you're a fan of National Lampoon. The actual documentary, Drunk, Stoned, Brilliant, Dead. Phenomenal, great. Go check it out. The other movie, A Futile and Stupid Gesture, came out in 2018. It had a lot of people, but Will Forte played Doug Kenny in that, and it was great as well. I grew up with Lampoon. I actually had a subscription to it in junior high. I still remember waiting eagerly for that to I can still smell that post office when I would go in there and open that box, waiting for that fucking issue to get there.
Now,
I had that, heavy metal, and epic subscriptions coming my way. Go ahead, sir.
Did they have nudity in the magazine?
They had nudity drawn, and they had these like little funny like things they would actually photograph in the offices there that would have ladies with toplessness. So yes, it was quite helpful in puberty as well.
Right.
So
Okay. Yeah, I never.
But I had like read so many stories about the Griswolds before the actual first Vacation movie came out, that when it finally hit, dude, I was so like blown away that Chevy Chase was fucking this dude I had been reading all these little stories about in the National Lampoon magazine for the years leading up to it.
Yeah.
It's just great stuff.
Yeah, it was really interesting being a kid in the 80s. You know, I didn't get into a lot. Like I didn't watch Animal House as a kid. I remember Caddyshack was like one of the first movies I think I can remember where there was a sex scene, and I was like, wow, what's this? This is amazing. But yeah, I mean, really for me, Fletch was the first thing that I got into. So even though I had, you know, awareness of Belushi and Aykroyd and other things like that, Chevy Chase was my guy. And so even though Joel McHale didn't look like Chevy in the movie, you know, it was interesting to. There was this really funny scene. There was this funny scene where there was this party at Doug Kinney's house, and there was this kilo of cocaine sitting there in this container, and Chevy's got this plate full of food, and he walks by and he looks down and he sees it, and he dumps the food and just starts shoveling Coke onto his plate. That was so funny. So hilarious, man. Those guys were so, I don't even know, man. Like, wow. Yeah. It's a debaucherous, time, but at the same time, it's nostalgic, watching those characters in the past, I suppose.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with Quentin Tarantino yesterday, and he was talking about Chevy Chase and how he differed from so many of the comedians at the time. For so many of the comedic movies, he was specifically mostly talking about Bill Murray. But like Bill Murray was one of those guys where, he would learn a lesson somewhere throughout the movie and change and transform, Stripes, Scrooge. There's a bunch of them from the 80s. You could go back with Bill Murray where he learns a lesson, then he, shapes up and becomes the leader and this and that, and just, has some life-altering experience. Chevy Chase never did that in any of the movies. He was like the same prick at the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. Like Fletch and all those. He was the same Fletch at the end as he was at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think Quentin was talking about that. He was talking about the 80s and how the 80s and the 50s were like dead times for cinema because of all the social regulations that were put on things back then. I think people were just so things were so overdone in the 70s that it really caused the 80s to have like a 1950s type setback to where it had to be Andy Griffith type.
Sorry.
But yeah, it was a really interesting interview.
I checked that out. A lot of people don't know Chevy Chase actually had like quite a lot of musical chops. He had he played drums, he played keyboard, piano. He put an album out at one point. There was some band kind of prior to all the comedy stuff. They put out an album, I believe. I think he even has perfect pitch, if I remember right, like some shit like that. Yeah, he's crazy. He's one of those rare dudes that almost has earned being the asshole he is with the talent, but no, he's just a dick. He's a prick.
I wonder if his last name is Chase.
I doubt it. I mean,
You mean I just was looking it up to make sure. Cornelius Chase Crane? Is that who you're talking about? Oh wait, Cornelius Crane Chase. Let's see. His father was Rear Admiral Miles Browning, for all of you people that forgot about the Tavistock Institute.
Wow.
I bet David M is just rolling in chat right now. There it is. He played drums and keyboard for a rock band called Chameleon Church. They recorded one album. I thought he had done more than one album. Maybe he did an album by himself after Saturday Night Live where he played piano, maybe something like that. Because I remember an album later on. Anyway, Chase has perfect pitch. There you go. A jazz style band with Donald Fagen and Walter Becker, no less. Steely Dan. Yeah, dude, like I said, he was a musician. He wasn't just playing around at it. He was a fucking
no, but with musician. The Chameleon Church was with Fagen and Becker.
Fagen and Walter
I'm going to have to check that out.
I know, I want to find it now. Yeah. Wow. I didn't even remember that part. That's great.
That's crazy.
Can I give a quick shout out to Terrestrial Mac there in chat? We got to do some digging on Tuesday. Van Leifer, a derpy Van Leifer. David Van Derper is a guy that had put out some really interesting articles on a website that we were taking a look at on Tuesday morning. And just the amount of stuff he put out there that goes against mainstream narrative of what Earth is. If you guys belong to the Ironworx Media Telegram group, head on over there and scroll up maybe last week or so. It's really interesting stuff that he's got put out there. thesis papers, just a whole bunch of stuff.
Hey, can you Skype me that link to Telegram?
Absolutely. I will share it in numerous chats as soon as I open it up and find it.
Yeah,
I know he was writing like no tree. He was talking about all the giant trees that were cut down and all this stuff that came up, at least on my feed, after Flat Earth. This guy wrote about years before it.
2012. Before I even heard of Flat Earth, he was talking about crystalline trees being cut down, and those are actually what we see now as these large, like Devil's Tower, and all this crazy stuff that we've been just now sort of developing over the last few years. Yeah, he was all on it a decade ago.
And I was still struggling trying to get into some of those articles other than the one that TJ shared with us.
Yeah, a lot of them you have to buy. Isn't that correct?
Well, it actually didn't seem that was the case. A lot of them literally said one page and you got a cover page and that was it. It wasn't like buy the rest or anything like that. I don't know. I didn't understand it a little bit. The site was a little
convoluted,
confusing. Yeah, a little bit unwieldy. But I'm looking at the tab still open here on my computer from Tuesday. So, yeah.
Or computer.
There are the links to
hey,
the
dude, you
Telegram.
don't know. That's what keeps my computer strong. It's making it run hard like that.
Got to flex it every once in a while. Can't let those memory cards atrophy.
Got to keep up the entropy. Oh, man. So, yeah. There's going to be I saw an eclipse this year, or is that next year? No, that's 2024, April 2024. I'm still waiting for that one. I'm pretty sure there's an eclipse this year, though, that is they call it a hybrid eclipse. I know I made a video about this.
So it runs on an internal combustion and a battery?
Where do you plug that bad boy up? That was my next question.
Well, it's an eclipse that starts off as
Mitsubishi.
A full solar eclipse. So you can't see the sun at all, right? The moon eclipses the sun. Well, in the center of this eclipse, as it moves along its path, it turns into the ring of fire. And then at the end of its path, it turns back to a full solar eclipse. Now explain that to me in the heliocentric model, how that works. How the shadow gets bigger and then smaller all in the matter of hours.
Okay, so wait, this is a solar eclipse?
Yes. April 20th, 2023 will be the next one in a couple months. But it's like Australia out in the middle of BFE nowhere.
Oh, so we don't get to see this amazing bullshit.
Love you, Lucas.
Be there.
Where we at? Yeah, where we at, Lucas?
There's like a French Polynesian island, like way off of Australia, out in the middle of nowhere, and that's like the closest place to where it starts. That's going to see the beginning of the eclipse. And in the middle will be between Australia and Indonesia. It'll pass right through that.
But how does that work in terms of parallax, right? Because in my mind, what you're describing right now has to be like a local proximate phenomenon, which would then accentuate fucking parallax. It's insane.
Yeah. As soon as I heard about this, I was like, wait, this actually happens like in real life?
Well, that's the thing that happened. I think it was last year. There was an eclipse that was only observable down in the south parallels somewhere. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, if you can see the sun in the sky, if you're saying like if I'm, let's say, in, I don't know, I'll just say Florida, and I can see the sun and the moon's up there. If I got out my app and I can see the moon is there and the sun's there, but I don't see an eclipse. But down in the South Parallel somewhere, there's an eclipse. Like that, you have to understand that implies a gross amount of parallax, which is completely nullified in the heliocentric model because they removed the distances so far that there's virtually no parallax.
Yeah, I mean, just all you have to do is look at the shadow sizes compared to the two different objects. Supposedly the Earth totally covers the moon in a shadow, right? But the moon makes a 70-mile wide shadow on the Earth. How does that work? I know the Earth is, bigger than the moon, blah, 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 but from completely covered, something over 2,000 miles wide, to a 70-mile wide, that's a big difference. A really big difference. I've never really looked into like the math of all that, but it just doesn't make sense to me. It could be. It could work, but it doesn't. Not in my brain. Not yet.
Yeah, well, Zach, science doesn't really give a shit if you understand it or not, okay? The world's not really concerned about whether or not you understand physics.
Apparently.
But yeah, look out for that, folks. We got a couple months till April. What did I say it was? April 20th. 20.
Oh, that makes sense then. You see, once the sun gets the eclipse, it's a big inhale, and it sucks in, right? And that creates the ring of fire, and then it has to exhale because it's 4:20, and then it goes on to create the full solar eclipse. Science, baby, science. Because even the sun god smokes weed on 420.
Hey, by the way, where did that term come from? You guys know?
Sun god?
No, 420.
No, I've heard various stories, various versions of where it came from, but I've not backtraced it.
Check this out. So Crosby, Stills, Nash has a song 4 and 20, but I was driving along last year sometime, and I was like, sing a song of sixpence, pocket full of rye, 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie. Right?
Uh-huh.
So there's 4 and 20 there as well. I'm just wondering where this whole...
Well, 4 and 20 is just 24.
Well, I mean, if you want to get down with it, Travis, old King Cole's a merry old soul.
Right,
merry
I
old
know,
soul.
right?
He
Yeah.
called for his pipe. He called for his pole. I guess we know about old King Cole.
Right?
He wasn't burning just, when he called for his pipe. Yeah, I know what he was smoking.
So I've heard that it was the...
There was a group of... Go ahead.
Well, again, I've heard it was a 10 code, part of a 10 code for police.
Never.
And again, how do you even verify any of this? But that was what I had heard at one point, was it was a 10 code. So anybody that was smoking weed, police would call it over the radio, was a 420 code 420. And that's where it came from. I've also heard that it was school time. When school let out at 4, that was 20 minutes for everybody to go to the spot so that they could all light up. And by the time everybody gets there after school lets out, it's 420, and then they all light up. So it was like a timing thing, but I have no idea.
Okay.
Walter.
So in 1972, 73, something like that, there were these students somewhere out in California who decided to meet up at this certain statue outside the school at a certain time of day to meet up and go get high behind whatever, and that was the time they chose. That is the story that I read years ago, I believe in High Times, or hell, it may even have been in like one of the quote unquote real magazines out there. I don't know, but that's just the one that I remembered, because that at that point they were trying to determine the reality of it being a police code, because no one in any municipality was using it that they could find. And that was the
So
story. I guess I could look it up. I do have an internet. Hang on.
Zombie.
There used to be a. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Morning.
Morning.
Grand Rising.
Into you.
So there used to be a documentary on Netflix back in the day called The Legend of 420, and it's the story that Walt just told.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Glad
And
I'm
it's
just remembering bad information.
No, that's I don't know how true that is. Like if that is the
And that
original
could be
source for it,
right?
But the documentary is called The Legend of 420. They use source material from High Times and a couple other magazines and stuff like that. It's literally the exact same story you just told.
And see, I can even remember vaguely some kind of association with some really bad shoes in the 80s about getting high if you wore these certain shoes. And that same group of kids are the reason those shoes were associated with
British
getting high. No, it wasn't that. It was some really bad leather shoes. Let me go look all this up. Hang on.
Yeah, well, if you are in the northern Indiana, the south end of Lake Michigan on 420, go to Michigan City, Indiana. The sun will be setting behind Chicago on that day, and you can see the Chicago skyline forever.
That would look super cool.
Yeah, that's
it would be all backlit in silhouette like that mountain, right?
Yeah.
The mountain David always uses on his interviews. That shit would look so cool.
Yeah, I was out there on that day and I got some great pictures of it. And it was by accident. It was just the first day that the humidity had dropped below 40% in like 2.5 years on the lake. So as soon as I got off work, I was checking like daily for the humidity of Lake Michigan. And it was like 37%. So I just shot out there right after work, got there set up, took a bunch of pictures, and then I started heading back. I was like, well, I got some great pictures. And then I get back to the up by where you park and everything, and there's like all these people with cameras standing there right along the boardwalk waiting for the sun to come down. They're like, oh, you can't leave yet, man. If you're taking pictures, this is the day. Blah, 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 blah. There's another one. I think it's in August, maybe September. So sun's heading back. Yeah, that's when you get your best pictures because the water temp and the air temp are a lot closer together in April. And yeah, it's just, man, I got some beautiful pictures.
That's awesome. Hey, Travis is on the call with us this morning, right? Not Andrew?
Correct.
Yeah, that's Travis.
And you're driving, right?
One last day.
So
yeah, I'm here.
Today's your last day as a driver?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yesterday was my last day as a driver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You go, Trav. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look at these.
What are you gonna do?
They're be happening.
Honestly, I'm probably gonna either go back to driving or back to tattooing. But we're moving. I'm in Southwest Florida right now, and next weekend we're moving to North Carolina. So I don't have anything lined up as of right now, but there's plenty of work up there, so I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. Yeah,
But,
I'm thinking about going to a meditation retreat in February in Asheville. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Asheville's beautiful.
Be out by the coast or up in the hills?
I think in the mountains.
Yeah, Asheville's over by the mountains.
Yeah,
That's more
Is
west
that
side of Central.
Asheville area?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Blue Ridge. Isn't that the Blue Ridge Mountain area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there. It gets cold though. There's some high elevations up in the mountains up there, and yeah, it gets a little chilly.
Would that be from local sea level or global sea level, Zach?
I love that when they talk, oh, the sea level rise. And Venice is on the sea, right? I mean, we have a pretty good measuring stick right there.
Yeah, Yeah, Venice and all those South Pacific islands.
Yeah, they're like a foot above.
Yeah, some are like 8 inches.
Yeah.
Been that way for like hundreds of years.
They're still there. Oh, well, the ground is moving up underneath them as well. Oh my goodness, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this segment.
God damn it. This thing is flying through.
Damn, that was real quick. Yeah. I thought I had at least a couple minutes. Nope, Zach was on it though. That's going to bring it down to one last segment. Just on the other side of this quick commercial break. Be sure you stick around. Who knows what the hell we're going to try to squeeze out before we get out of here. We'll be right back.
It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice. If you need to change your job too, let's say you have a family and children and a mortgage, you have responsibilities. You've already picked up those responsibilities. You don't just get to walk away scot-free and say, well, I don't like my job, I quit. That's no strategy. But what you might have to do is you think, well, this job is killing my soul. All right, so what do I have to do about that? Well, I have to look for another job. Well, no one wants to hire me. It's like, okay, maybe you need to educate yourself more. Maybe you need to update your curriculum vitae, your resume. Maybe you need to overcome your fear of being interviewed. Maybe you need to sharpen your social skills. Like, you have to think about these things strategically. If you're going to switch careers, you have to do it like an intelligent, responsible person. That might take you a couple of years of effort to do properly.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured truthfrequencyradio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality. Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up. Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
We exist in the security and comfort of our worlds. Paved paths, lights, and manicured lawns give us peace of mind that our world has been tamed, and we are its master. But other worlds exist on the edge of our sight. On the edge of our awareness, the shadows move. The woods fill with the unblinking eyes of the nightmares our ancestors warned us about. Some of us have stumbled into these forgotten realms, whether on purpose or completely by surprise. I'm Brent Thomas. Join us on the Paranormal Portal Friday and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to midnight Pacific Standard Time as we journey into the world of the paranormal phenomena.
Enter the Paranormal Portal if you dare. No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. You're listening to Iron Realm Media. I listen all the time, and it's the best truth show out there. Forget about the mainstream lying. Get your weekly dose of iron. Realm, that is. Stay woke, folks.
And welcome back. Fourth and final segment, second half of the second half, Trav, just so as you know, of the Ironworks right here, Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Sure enough. I do want to commemorate today as being Friday the 13th and take a minute to remember all of those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice as the Knights Templar.
Hey, is there a thing where people go out and get tats on Friday the 13th?
Yes, as a tattoo artist, I can 100% confirm that.
Yeah, you know, I was driving around Southern California in Ventura one time at night, and there was this massive line outside the tattoo parlor. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, it's Friday the 13th.
I'm covered in 13s, bro. I've got probably, I think, 4 or 5 different 13s on me.
I asked for a 13, but they drew a 31.
I love that song back in the day. But yeah, typically most shops, depending on if you're in a more touristy area or a more localized area, you're either going to see small custom flash pieces, like palm size. We call them like pork chop flash, like palm size, full color, super traditional. And it'll usually be things themed from like horror movies, especially the Friday the 13th series. And they'll be like $100. Or since I'm in a more touristy area, the way that we used to do it is $30 tattoos, and they're like $50 size. And it's usually just a stylized 13 or like a real simple Jason Voorhees mask with a 13 for the eyes, or 1,000 different variations of stuff like that, like a black cat standing on a 13, and it'll be $30 for a tattoo or $13 for a piercing. And as a body piercer and a tattoo artist, I've never gotten a tattoo. I've only gotten a tattoo on 2 Friday the 13th out of probably 20 or 30 that have in the past 12 years that I've been tattooing.
Figured I was talking to my son, like, yeah, I'm going to go get a tat on Friday, but I didn't even think.
Yeah, you got a little bit quiet there.
Oh, I just said that I remembered that my son said that he was going to go get a tat today, and
Is he? Nice. I hope he gets something cool.
Hey. You've never had.
Wow. We're having trouble with Zack and with Travis's audio today, it seems, unfortunately.
How about now?
There you are.
Yeah, I have my hand over
them. Daniel Becker in chat asks, 13 tattoo is permanent. Is that permanent bad luck? Only if you're superstitious.
yeah, I mean, you got to think about it, right?
Because it's bad luck to be superstitious.
Yeah, if you go into a building that has 15 floors, but between 12 and 14, there's no 13th floor. There's still a 13th floor, you know.
There's just no number.
How did Friday the 13th start?
That's what Josh was just talking about, the Knights Templar. Weren't they all like, attempted to all be executed on Friday the 13th?
Yeah, it was supposed to be like one fell swoop, and it was like ordered through the Pope, who had finally had enough of their grabs at power and money and all kinds of influence, and they decided, all right, enough of the Knights Templar, they're done. And they figured the best way to do it was just one night, arrange it, go through and kill them all at once one night, so you don't have to try to hunt them down and allow them to protect each other and things like that. We'll just get them all at once. And that was supposed to have been done on Friday the 13th, allegedly.
So allegedly, right. Do you think it's more likely that their official story is what happened, or the Pope and whoever else was like, all right, you guys are getting a little too good, so we're gonna end you, quote unquote, and just give you a new name, and you guys are gonna stay more in the shadows, be a little more ninja-y.
It's possible. It would even make more sense, I think, if they had gained so much money, power, and influence that they figured the best thing now to do is just to completely disappear and get out of people's consciousness and get out of that sort of mainstream realm and just operate from the shadows. And we'll just do that by faking our deaths, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is old, I guess. From the Norse goddess of wisdom, after whom Friday is named, and the Greek word meaning 13. It doesn't say like when that was supposedly, but it's not just in certain areas. This is like in different parts of the plane.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, for different reasons. It's weird. Huh.
But it goes right along with everything else from, like, I don't want to say necessarily like a religious standpoint, but all the old stories, they all line up. The timelines might be a little wonky, but like everybody's got a world flood, everybody's got all these different things. They all fall on this, or not necessarily fall on the same time, but like everybody believes the same shit. We all just tell the stories a little different.
Yeah, here's one. In many Spanish-speaking countries and in Greece, Tuesday the 13th is seen as a day of misfortune. In Italy, Friday the 17th and not Friday the 13th is considered to be a day that brings bad luck. And 13 is thought to be a lucky number.
Well, as
ever since I was a
TJ
little kid, 13 has been a lucky number for me.
Right. As TJ pointed out there in chat, Boss Pedals doesn't have a pedal. Well, they only have one, actually, pedal with the number 4, because in Japan, where Boss pedals are made, the number 4 is considered unlucky because it actually sounds similar to their word for death.
Huh.
So, yeah, just like our whole 13 thing there in Japan, it would be the number 4. So there you go.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I never put a whole lot of stock into that kind of stuff.
Where's Lunderground? I bet Lunderground has something to say.
The day of the week and this falling on certain time, and those are man-made constructs. Now, when nature tells you things like that, when nature throws up things, then like Mars is in retrograde. Don't do this, Don't make business dealings with somebody that you're unsure of, and this and that. There might be a lot more truth to that than most people think.
I agree. I think there is. And Zach, I think I learned it, or I heard it from you. I could be wrong. It might have been somebody else, but that you're not supposed to make big financial decisions or electronic purchases when Mercury's in retrograde, I think.
I think that's right. I think that's one of the ancient philosophies about online purchasing. Yeah.
Oh, right. No Amazon orders. That comes from the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Comes from the fourth scroll, right?
Well, that's why I said financial. I think it was originally financial decisions, and then as technology grew, people started saying similar things about electronics.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, we were talking about intent on the last show, and yeah, you can find astrologers that intend to scam you, wanting your money. You're not going to get anything out of those types of people that their intent is not to help you. So most likely you're not going to get any real information out of them. But there are those that put the intent behind it, and that's where the magic happens and things like that. it would be so nice if it could be like, yes or no type answers, but that's just not how reality works. There's so many people and so many different intentions out there that one can take. Yeah, it's a really neat world. It really is.
A world in which everything is sound. According to our buddy David M., thank you for that super chat, which he then reiterated again with some little sound symbol speakers. And yet again with, is that a crystal ball? That might be a crystal ball. David, thank you.
Well, yeah, the universe, in the beginning, one word was spoken.
Still being spoken.
I personally believe that one word is still being spoken.
Well, yeah.
That's another bleed over from cultural, whether it be cultural references or religion, but that, to me, that one word that's spoken about in the Abrahamic religions, that's the same word that's why the monks of all the Eastern religions use the mantra of Om. That chant that they're doing,
8-3 hertz,
is
they're trying to.
Yeah, that's the one word. I actually have a Om tattooed in the middle of my palm because of that. That's the word. That's the universe. That's it.
And that noise is always being made. We don't
always
hear it. No, it's background noise to us.
Like a dog whistle.
But we don't hear it. There are other ones, frequencies above 20 hertz, that are constantly always there. I think there's one about 34. There's one at 26, somewhere around there. But we don't hear them because they're always there. It's like white noise. It's just something that you get used to that never turns off and then turns back on, so you can actually hear it. It's just always there. I worked in a lot of factories.
Kind of like the way the Earth spins, right? That's why we don't feel it at 1,000 miles an hour, because it's always there, right?
Yeah, like first time you walk into a factory, you're like, whoa, it's like blaring. I can't hear anything. And then after a few hours of being in there, you don't even hear that stuff anymore. It's just there. Your brain turns that off. It's amazing how it works. But yeah, there's always the noise there. It never stops. These frequencies are always going.
So what do you think would happen if those frequencies did stop, Zach, particularly?
Mother Nature would win. The entropy would take place in everything, and we would all cease to exist. Everything would go back to the ether. Cold, black, dark, void, nothingness. No heat, no pressure, no electric potential. Everything is neutral. No electric potential difference, I should say. And yeah, you would have the ether, the dark void. That's my opinion. So yeah, I'm not super excited about the day that the creator stops speaking. I don't think it's going to come anytime soon, though.
I don't think we'll be here when it comes. Not like us, but mankind as a whole.
Yeah, it's way too beautiful a song.
Yeah.
It's like the song that never ends,
I'm trying to remember the movie where they had this scene with a bunch of monk type people all sitting in this huge area, like a big, huge antiquitech type palace surrounding this big central thing, and they were all humming at a certain frequency, and that's what kept our reality in place. I'm trying to
Monty
get
Python's Holy Grail.
Thank you.
No, I don't know if that is it. I'm just kidding.
Well, somewhere in like a movie like that. It's a movie we've all seen, and I know this. I just can't. Is that it? David M. in chat saying this never-ending story.
In one
that
of
sounds
the,
right. That sounds right. Yeah, Rico's saying that too. That sounds right. So
Never-ending
that's
Oh, you know what? It could be the dark crystal.
that don't feel right. It feels more like that Never-ending Story. It even feels more like something also has shown it more recently, like one of those weirder, crazy movies that came out, like that Dr. Pernicious, whatever movie, maybe with like
Heath Ledger.
Colin Farrell and Keith
that
Ledger
one,
all
yeah.
playing that same character. I think that might have shown that same type of scene too, in that same thing. Every time I think of that, of this place and everybody's humming to keep it, I think about the thing in the Bible about all the angels singing around the temple, and I think about the frequency and the voice and the word was first and all these frequency things, and how that's felt so fucking real to me, that place is a real fucking place. Like you said, the Dark Crystal, the Dark Tower, the rose at the center of it all, whatever the fuck you want to call it all, that just feels real every time that idea is presented or comes to my head.
What if that's what the stars are?
To me, that's what stars are. It's where we're outside this place, humming into this place, creating that little spot,
afloat, right?
That little spot of cymatic pattern is how we enter into this place and become a 3D fucking thing to become this playtime that we have here in this reality. That's what I think stars are. That's why you have a star that's your star, and you know it when you look at it. And that's why the fuckers will try to sell you another star and put your name on that star and fuck up all that shit. Because anything they can do to fuck the energy up, they'll do it.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Bible says that the stars are the chorus of angels, and their rotation is them praising, singing glory. So that's another one of those bleed overs. Like, the more you try and figure out where we get these stories from, it doesn't matter where they come from. They're all the same story.
Stars, all those lights up there. It's just, I don't know. It's like the more that I learn about them, the less sense that they make.
For real.
Watch them, the more, it just doesn't make sense. And I know there's a logical, in the world of physics, explanation of how it's happening. But to actually go up there and measure it to, make sure that that's what's happening, how do you do that? And I'm not saying they're out of reach. I'm just saying, how do you go touch a star? It seems like the closer we get to them, the further away they seem. And then they disappear.
Well, yeah, in all our weather balloons, they disappear.
Yeah. So,
and I've been in a plane at night. I've seen what Dave talks about, where he was all excited to see the stars on his first time flying at night. I've been like that. And once you're up there, you're like, there's the moon and like 3 stars that are probably planets. So that's the only reason I can see them. Like, it's weird. You would think as you got up, they would just get brighter, regardless of where we are. If they're up there as we go up, they should be more visible, right? That's why I think they're like the star in a jar, the cymatics.
Yeah, that's one of my.
I think it plays into the atmosphere. Sorry, Zach.
No, I was just gonna say that's one of my next things I want to do for a Lattoberfest type presentation, like to show people the star. I want to see the star in the jar.
I want to be there for that.
I think I already have a few of the pieces. They're just the acoustic stuff I need. But we have the frequency generator already. That's like one of the expensive parts to it. But yeah, it's all in good time. It'll happen when it's supposed to, I guess. Well, Trav, you're going to be on the road and traveling around. You need to keep an eye out somewhere that might be able to do that magnet test drop.
Do what?
The magnet drop. There's a place in northern Montana that would be perfect, but it's far.
Oh, really? Northern
Yeah,
Montana?
I've offered to send them out there. Yeah, and the name of it's called Flathead Lake.
Huh.
No joke. But yeah, I offered to send it to the guy.
What's the drop? Like, is there a cliff or something?
Yeah, and it goes like it juts out. So and then
Yeah.
it's like over the water, 200 foot.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, it would be perfect. But it's just getting to northwestern Montana. I mean, northeastern, anywhere in Montana. It's just that's
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to have all of the variables that, whoever's going to do it, if it's me, I mean, whatever. But, like, how many people would we need? What instruments? Like, what would, everything.
What's going to happen when those things hit the water?
I don't know. Yeah, we're going to find out they're not super light. So we'll see. I think they're almost done. I have a bunch of extra stuff too. Like the balls. It's just a clear plastic ball, and then it's stuffed with cotton, and then the weights are in the center of that. So if that breaks, I have plenty more outside shells and plenty more cotton. You just have to recover the magnet.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have stuff to catch things, but that's over land, over water. It'd be a little different. Net system or something like that.
You could probably get a high test fishing net and some buoys to kind of keep it stretched out.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the magnets exploding.
Yeah,
already under such tremendous pressure.
Yeah, I was really scared for you watching you put those things together. That I still think about that sometimes.
I know, and then I was handling it like an idiot. Just when I was done, just
throwing it around.
Throwing it around. People are like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Yeah, I was just so relieved that I didn't have to cram them together anymore. But yeah, that was dumb. I should have not been so willy-nilly with them after the fact.
Is that on your channel, Zach? I must have missed that.
Yeah. I think it's forcing together 200-pound magnets. I think that's the topic.
Well, for the record, we have a friend there in Montana, our good buddy Fishhead, Montana, over there on Rockfin.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure we've got a listener at Flathead Lake too. We're really near Flathead Lake.
I think I saw that go by in chat as well. I was trying to go back and find it, actually, and you got there before I did.
Then let me go back and see.
I've had 2 different flat earthers at Flattoberfest from Flathead, Montana. At Lake Montana.
Seeking Starwater. That's who it was.
Excuse me.
Well, there you go. You can go up there and do your magnet testing and get a couple of tarot decks.
Right? Hell yeah. We're almost done here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure we're going to have an exciting show this afternoon. That's the plan anyway. We actually made a plan for a change.
We'll be joined by Martin Liebka.
That's
I
right.
thought I heard y'all say that Tuesday.
Yes, Martin Liebka should be here. So,
always a good time, Martin.
I'm excited.
So,
have newer things I've found I want to talk to him about. Go ahead, Josh.
We've only got about 90 seconds. In the Space Lettuce pile, Zach, is a story. It's not even a story. It's a YouTube video talking about moon dust. And I thought it was really interesting how they talk about the way that moon dust is just sort of suspended all in the air on the moon because of the positive charge that it gets from the sun on one side and the negative charge it gets from the other, and the way that this differential in the electrostatics causes dust to just sort of float and be suspended in the air. And when the astronauts were watching like the sunrise or something off on the moon and the lights were coming up the light rays coming up.
Sunrise on the moon.
Yeah, and they thought it was, it couldn't have been the atmospherics because it's the moon, and they realized it was all the suspended dust particles because of the electrostatics.
That would explain the bad footage, maybe.
All sorts of, moon dust is terrible, terrible stuff. It just eats and eats away at the astronaut spacesuit and all the seals. Shout out to Trav and his final day as a trucker. We love you, Trav. You're going to miss that hello. Otherwise, we'll see you guys back here this evening with Mark and Lika on Have No Sphere. Be good, be well. Bye-bye.